concept after practice set 2.1, that is decimal form of irrational numbers. We already studied in the 8th standard that the number whose decimal form is non-terminating and non-recurring, that is called as irrational number. We already studied this part in 8th standard that if the decimal form of the number is non-terminating and the non-recurring, then it is called as irrational number. We also find the square roots of some numbers, but there in the 8th standard, the numbers whose square root we find, those numbers are perfect square numbers since they are terminating. Now here today we have to find the square root of the non-perfect square numbers by using the division method, which we already studied in the 8th standard. So here first we will find the square root of the number 7. So how to find the square root of the number root 7, that we have to discuss here. Find square root of 7 by the division method. Find the square root of 7 by the division method. So here we will draw the symbol first. Here we have to find the square root of 7, so we write 7. Now we already know that this number is non-perfect square number. We cannot find the perfect square root of 7. But here we have to find the square root. Either it is perfect or non-perfect, we have to find the square root. Since how to find the square root of 7? Since it is a non-perfect square number, we have to put the decimal sign. And we have to take the groups of zeros. After this decimal sign, here we can take the groups of zeros. We will take 4 groups of 2 zeros. First group, second group, third group, and this is the fourth group. And here we know that we have to take the groups of the digits. After decimal sign, different groups we have to take, and before decimal sign, different groups. Now here from this decimal sign at the left side we have to take the groups of two digits, and after this decimal sign we have to take the groups of two digits. But here we have only one digit, so we have to take the group of only single digit. If we have 2 digits there, then we will make the group of 2 digits, but we have only 1 digit there. So we make the groups of the digits after decimal sign and before the decimal sign. The number is divided into groups. That is very important. To divide the number into the particular groups, that after the decimal sign we have to take the group of two digits. Since no digit is there after 7, we take only zeros there. We can take infinite groups of zeros there, but we take only 4 groups, 1, 2, 3 and 4 groups we take. You can take more and more groups to get more and more digits. How many digits we have to get, that is depend upon these groups. And as we know that the square root of 7, that is 7 is non-perfect square number, so we cannot get the perfect square root of that number, but still we have to find the square root of that number. So here first we divide that number into the groups. How we have to make the groups? After decimal signs we have to make the groups, and before decimal sign, from this decimal sign to the left side we have to make the groups of two digits. But since we have only 1 digit, we make the group of 1 digit only. And after decimal sign we have to make the groups of two digits. Since digits are not available here, we take only zeros. Now here we have to think about the first group. We have to think about the first group. In the first group, before the decimal sign, in the first group, we have a number 7, and into the first step we have to think about the square root only. Into the first group we have to think about the square root only. In other group we have to think different, but in the first group, while thinking about the first group, at that time we have to think about the square root only. Is it possible to find the square root of 7? No, it is not possible. 7 has no square root. Then before 7, which number is perfect square that we have to find? Before 7, 6 is there. Can we take the square root of 6? No. Before 6, 5 is there. Can we take the square root of 5? No. Before 5, 4 is there. Is it possible to take the square root of 4? Yes, it is possible. So here we write 4. Since 4 is perfect square number before 7. Before 7, whose square root is possible to find? That number is 4. So we write 4 here. Now we have to write the square root of 4 here. That is 2. Square root of 4 is 2. Now we have to write this number here. It's 2. Plus we have to add the same number to. Same number we have to add to the 2. That is 2 plus 2. If 3 is here, then we have to add 3 plus 3 here. If you have 5 here, then we have to add 5 plus 5 here. If you have 9 here, then we have to write 9 plus 9 here. Since we are thinking about the first group, and while thinking about the first group, we have to think about the square root. And since it is not possible to get the square root of 7, before 7, 6 is there, we cannot find the square root of 6. 5, we cannot find the square root. 4, it is possible to find the square root since we write 4 here. Now here we take the square root of 4, that is 2. And now we write here 2 plus 2, that is 4. Here we have to take the subtraction. 7 minus 4 is 3. Now we have to put this decimal sign here. And now we have to take the next group downside. We have to take the next group downside, that is 2 0. No need to draw this arrow, but only I draw that we take the first group after decimal sign here. These 2 zeros we take. We first put this decimal sign here and then we take the group downside, and now we have 300 here, and here we have 4. Now here how to think to get the digit after this decimal sign. In the first group we think about the square root. Now we are not going to think about the square root, we have to think different. But how differently we have to think there? Since we have 300 here, we have to try to write a digit beside 4. We have to try to write a digit. We have 10 digits in all. We have 10 digits in all, that is 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have to write a digit here. But we cannot write any digit there. We have to write a digit here such that if suppose we write 3 here, suppose we write 3 here, then we will get 43 here. Once we write 3 here, then you have to multiply that number by 3 only. If you write 5 here, then you have to multiply that 45 by 5 only. If you write 9 here, then you will get 49, and then you have to multiply 49 by 9 only. Suppose you write 1 here, then you will get 41 there, then you have to multiply 41 by 1 only. If you write 4 here, then you will get 44, and you have to multiply that 44 by 4 only. The digit which we are writing here, by the same digit we have to multiply the number which is formed here, and we have to get 300 or the number less than 300. If you are not getting the perfect number, that is 300, then you have to get the number less than 300. So which digit we should write here, that is very important. How to get that digit which we have to write here? We have to write a single digit there such that once we write that digit here and we multiply the number formed by the same digit, then multiplication should be 300 or the less than 300. Now how to think about that? Since here we have to write one digit, we will skip one digit from here. Now we have 4 and we have to get 30. We have 4 and we have to get 30. So 4 7 are 28. 4 7 are 28. We have 30 here, we have 4 here, and we have to get the digit at this place. At this place, how to get that digit? Since 4, see, we have 4 and 30 here. Divide 30 by 4. Since it is division method. Why it is known as division method? We have to think, we have to use division there. We have 30 here, we have 4 here, 4 7 are 38, sorry 28, we have 30 here. Means we reach up to 7, we can take 7, that is not fixed digit. We cannot fix that digit, we have to think first. Suppose if we write 7 beside 4, then we will get 47, and if we multiply this 47 by 7, which number we will get? 7 7 are 49, 4 carry, 7 4 are 28 plus 4 32, we are getting 329. Means taking 7 here, that is not correct, that is incorrect. We are getting forward, we need 300 and we are getting 329. At least we have to get 300 or the number less than 300. This is the number which is greater than 300. So we cannot take 7 here. Since it is very clear, if we are unable to take 7 there, then definitely we can take the number 7 less than, the digit less than 7 we can take there, and that is 6. Now suppose if we take 6 here, what is going to happen? Suppose we take 6, then we will get 46 here. And if 46 is multiplied by 6, then we are getting 6 6 are 36, 3 carried, 6 4 are 20, 4 plus 3 27, we are getting 276, and which is the correct one. Either we have to get 300 or the number less than 300. If we put 7, then we are getting 329, which is more than 300. And if we put 6, then we will get there 276, which is correct one. So here we will write 6. Now here also we have to write 6, and then we have to add 6 to this number. And here we have to write the product of these two. Here we have to write the product of these two. Already we take the product, that is 276. Once we will make the product, 6 6 are 36, 3 carried. 6 4 are 24 plus 3 27, that is 276 is the product. Now we have to take subtraction here, we have to take addition. Once again I will repeat this step, that we have 2 plus 2 4. Here we have to write a digit beside 4 such that the number which is formed by writing the digit there, by the same digit we have to multiply that number, and we have to get either 300 or the number less than 300. And how we directly get 7? That is very important. Otherwise you are putting 1 here, then 41 multiplied by 1, 41. That is very small number. We will get more numbers. So we write here 2, then we will get 42 multiplied by 2, that is 84. This 300 is too long. Now we will take suppose 3 here, then we will get 43 multiplied by 3, 3 3 is 9, 3 4 are 12, 129. Since 300 is too away, far away from 129. Since we will take 4 here, that is time consuming. It will take too much time. So how we will get the digit directly? Directly we will reach that digit. That is not perfect digit, but it will take less time. We directly reach to 7, but we find that 7 is not correct. If we write 7 here, then we will get 47 multiplied by 7, then we will get 329, which is greater than 300. So taking 7 there, that is wrong. So we can take 6 there, and once we take 6, what we are getting, that is 276, which is less than 300. If we take 7, we are getting the number more than 300. At least we have to get less than 300 or 300, but here if we write 7, we get more number than 300, and if we take 6, then we will get smaller number than 300, and that is correct. So here we write 6, here also we write 6, here we add 6. Whatever the digit we write here, the same digit we have to add there. In the previous steps also we write 2 here, and we add 2 to the 2, and we get 4. Here 46, we write 6. Once we write 6 here, then we have to add 6 to the same number. Now here 46 plus 6 is 52. 46 plus 6 is 42. Here we have to take subtraction, we will get is 24. The subtraction is 24. Here addition is 52. Now we have to get the next group here. That is 2 zeros. Now we have 2400. Here we have 2400. Here we have 52. Again we have to make the same thinking like the previous step. Only into the first step we have to think about the square root. In each and every step. In the next each and every step we have to think about writing a digit beside the number. Now here beside 52 we have to write a digit. Such that once we write a digit here, and if we multiply the number formed by the same digit, we have to get 2400 or the number less than 2400. So here we will think, see here we have to write one digit, so we will skip here one digit. Now we have 52 and we have to get 240. We have 52 and we have to get 240. We will skip one more digit. We will skip one more digit since we didn't know the table of 52. So we have 5 and 24. So how you will get 24 from 5? That is 5 fours are 20. That is 5 fours are 20. We have 24 and we have 5 here. We have to divide this 24 by 5. We skip these two digits from here and from here. So we have 24 divided by 5, that is 4. We directly reach to 4. But we have to check whether writing the 4 is correct or wrong or incorrect. That we have to check. Suppose we write 4 beside 52 and we multiply that number by 4. 4 fours are 16, 1 carry 4 to the 8 plus 1, 9, 4 5 are 20. We are getting 2096, which is correct. We have to get either 2400 or the number less than 2400, and here we get, if we write 4 here, is 5 fours are 20. How we get 4? That is very important. We have 24 here, we have 5 here. 5 fours are 20. We cannot take 5. 5 fives are 25. We are getting number more than 2400. So do not think about 5. Since 5 fives are 25, we need 24 only. So writing 4 is the correct. So here we write the 4. Here we have to write the digit 4. Once we write 4, here we have to write 4 here also. We have to add 4 to this number, and then we have to subtract the product of these two from 2400. 4 fours are 16, 1 carry 4 to the 8 plus 1, 9, 4 5 are 20. Here we have to take addition, here we have to take subtraction. This 528 is 528. Here we have to take subtractions. We have 4 here, 10 minus 6 4 is 10 minus 10 0, 4 minus 1 3, this is 2 minus 2 0. We have 304 as subtraction. Now we have to take the next group here. Again we have to take 2 zeros here. 304 is the subtraction, and we take 2 more zeros next group here. Now again we have to write a digit here. Beside 528 we have to write a digit from 0 to 9. And we have to get 30,400. Now here we will skip 1, 2 and 3 digits. This which we have to write. 1, 2, 3 digits. We will skip 3 digits from here also. 3 digits we will skip. Now we have 30 and we have 5 here. 5 6 are 30. 5 6 are 30 means we have to write 6. That is not confirmed 8. That is not confirmed 8. We have to confirm whether it is correct or it is wrong. Suppose we write 6 beside 528 and we multiply that number by 6. Then we are getting 6 6 are 36, 3 carry 6 8 are 48 plus 3 51, 5 carry 6 2 are 12 plus 5 17, 1 carry 6 5 are 30 plus 1 31. Now we are getting forward. We need 30,400 and we are getting 31,000. Means writing 6 there, that is wrong. We cannot write 6 there. And it is very clear we are unable to write 6 means definitely we can write 5. Otherwise, once check what is going to happen if we write 5 here. You can check it. 5 5 is 25. 2 carry. 5 is 40 plus 2. 42. 4 carry. 5 2 is 10 plus 4. 14. 1 carry. 5 5 is 25 plus 1. 26. And it is less than 30,400. It means that writing 5 here, that is correct. So here we can write 5. Once we write 5 here, we have to write 5 here also. Now we have to add 5 to this number, and then we have to subtract product of those two numbers from 30,400. 5 5 is 25. 2 carry. 5 is 40 plus 2 42. 4 carry. 5 2 is 10 plus 4 14. 1 carry. 5 5 is 25 plus 1 26. Now here we already take the product here, but do not write the same product here because very fast multiplication we take, there may be minor mistakes will be there. So here again we will take the product and then confirmation also we will get there. That is very important. And once we get the wrong multiplication there, each and every step is going to make wrong. So we have to take care about the calculations. Now here we have to take addition. 5 plus 5 10. 1 carry. 8 plus 1 9. 52 as it is. Now again beside this 5290 we have to write a digit here. This subtraction is remaining. 16 minus 5 5. 16 minus 3 is 7. We cannot subtract 5 from 4, so again we have to take borrow. 14 minus 5 is 9. Given this borrowed one is given here. 6 plus 1 is 7. We cannot subtract 7 from 0, so again we borrowed 1. 10 minus 7 is 3. And here the borrowed one is given. 3 minus 3 is 0. So the subtraction is 3975. Since we have one more group of 2 zeros here, we have to take that group here. This 0. Now this process is not going to end. It is not terminating. This process is not. When this process gets over, if we get 0 as remainder, and we cannot get 0 as remainder here, since 7 is non-perfect square number. Since the 7 is non-perfect square number, non-perfect square, so we cannot get the remainder 0. This process is not going to end. And if once we observe the digit is not going to recur, recurring is not there, means the square root of this 7 is non-terminating and non-recurring. We will get one more digit there. Since we take the root here, we will get one digit again there. Here we have to write a digit from 0 to 9, such that if we write a digit here and we multiply that number by that digit, then we will get the number 3,97,500 or the number less than 3,97,500. Now here we will skip 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. So skip 4 digits from here also. Now we have to get 39 from 5. 5 7s are 35. 5 7s are 35, means writing 7 may be correct. That is not confirmed. We will directly reach to 7. We directly reach to 7. So we have to check what happens if we write 7 here. Suppose we write 7 beside 5290. 5290. We write 7 beside that number and we multiply that number by 7. 7 7 is 49. 7 9 is 63. 7 2 is 14 plus 6 20. 7 5 is 35 plus 2 37. And it is correct. Writing 7 is correct. Since we get the number less than 3,97,500, we get 3,70,349. And once we write suppose 8 here, then 8 5s are 40. 4 lakh we are getting, which is greater than this number. So that is not correct. So you can take 7 here. So we write 7 here. We write 7 here. We add 7 to this number. And now product of these two we have to subtract from this number. 7 7 is 49. 4 carried. 4 right as it is. 7 0 the 0 plus 4 4. 7 9 is 63. 6 carry. 7 2 is 14 plus 6 22 carry. 7 5 is 37 plus 2. Sorry, 7 5 is 35 plus 2 37. That is 3,70,340. 9. 7 plus 7, 14. 1 carry 1 plus 0 is 1. 9 remains as it is. 2 and 5. Here we will get 10 minus 9 1. 10 minus 5 5. 5 minus 4 1. 7 2 0. And this process is not going to end. This process is not going to end. We will get the infinite digits. This square root of 7 is non-terminating and if we take one more root, you will get one more digit. If we take one more root, you will get one more digit. This process is not going to end, since the square root of number 7 is non-terminating and non-recurring. The square root of 7 is non-terminating and non-recurring. Here you can write square root of 7 is equal to 2.6457 and so on. This is non-terminating and non-recurring. Since the decimal form of square root of 7 is non-terminating and non-recurring, it is called as irrational number. We find the square roots of the numbers in the 8th standard, but all the numbers in that lesson are perfect squares. We didn't find the square root of non-perfect square number, so we take that example here. Here we are discussing the decimal form of irrational number, and the decimal form of irrational number is non-terminating and non-recurring. So here we can write decimal form of irrational number. Root 7 is irrational number. Decimal form of irrational number is non-terminating and non-recurring. So here we get the definition of irrational number also. We already studied that definition in 8th standard also. The number whose decimal form is non-terminating and non-recurring, that is called as irrational number. Now we will take the next concept, that is irrational number and real. Irrational and real numbers. Here we have to discuss, here we have to study the irrational numbers and the real numbers. In the previous concept only we studied, or in the 8th standard also we studied what is the irrational number. The number whose decimal form is non-terminating and non-recurring. The number whose decimal form is irrational number. The number whose decimal form is non-terminating and non-recurring. The number whose decimal form is non-terminating and non-recurring. Is called as irrational number. For example, we studied examples also in 8th standard. For example, each and every number whose square root is not possible to find, that number if we write in the square root, for example square root of 2, it is irrational number. Square root of 3, it is irrational number. But square root of 4 is not irrational number, since the square root of 4 is 2 and 2 is rational number. So we cannot write root 4 there. We have to write that number in the square root whose square root is not possible to find. Non-perfect square number, if we write inside the square root sign, then it is definitely irrational number. Here we can write root 7, etc. Then real numbers. We have real numbers. The name of the lesson is real numbers, and here we have to study real numbers. All the rational and irrational numbers together called as real number. All the rational numbers and irrational numbers. All the rational numbers and irrational numbers together called as real numbers. All the rational and irrational numbers together called as real numbers. Together called as real numbers. Here, if we write rational number, then it is real. If we write irrational number, then it is also real. So here we can write some examples. For example, 2/5, since it is rational, it is real. Every rational and irrational number is real number. So here we can write √7. It is irrational, but every irrational number is real number. All the rational numbers and irrational numbers together called as real numbers. So here we can write some more examples. Here we write 11, -3, etc. These are the real numbers. All are the real numbers. Each and every rational number is a real number. Each and every irrational number is also real number. Now here we have one more important concept. Here we have to prove that √2 or √3 or √7 or √5 is irrational number. That we have to prove. We'll take an example. We'll take a theorem. We can say call it as theorem also. We have to prove that √2 is irrational number. How to prove that √2 is irrational number? We have to use indirect method of proof there. To prove that √2 is irrational number, we have to use the indirect proof. We studied two types of proofs in the geometry into this first lesson, that is basic concepts in geometry. We studied two types of proofs. While solving a theorem, we have to use two types of proofs. First one is direct proof and second one is indirect proof. And you have to simplify this theorem by the indirect proof. So here we have a theorem, and in this theorem we have to prove that √2 is irrational number. And we have to simplify this theorem by using the indirect proof. As all of you know that by using the indirect proof, whatever we have to prove, whatever here we have to prove, we have to take the opposite part of that proof as assumption. Here we have to prove that √2 is irrational number. So we will consider that √2 is rational number. So here we will write let √2 is rational number. We will consider that √2 is rational number. Actually we have 5 steps to solve any theorem, but here we are in algebra, so diagram is not necessary. Then we have to write the given information, that is also not in indirect proof, that is not necessary. But assumption, we have to start with assumption. And what we have to assume, whatever we have to prove, exactly opposite part of that we have to use as an assumption. You can directly write the heading here, assumption, and then you will write √2 is rational number. Now this is the assumption, that √2 is rational number, and this assumption we have to prove that this assumption is false. We consider that assumption, and only we have to prove that it is false, that √2 is rational number, it is false. And once we prove that it is false, that √2 is rational number, it is false, then what is correct? Then it is correct that √2 is irrational number, which we have to prove. So it is very simple. Using indirect method, it is very simple. Do not afraid of it. याला घाबरायची गरज नाही. It is very easy. खूप सिंपल आहे. जो भाग आपल्याला इथे सिद्ध करायला सांगितलेला आहे, एक्झॅक्टली त्याच्या अपोजिट आपण इथं गृहीतक assumption मांडायचं असतं. आता इथं आपल्याला हे प्रूव्ह करायचं आहे की √2 इज रॅशनल नंबर, पण आपण assumption असं मांडलं, गृहीतक असं मांडलं की √2 इज रॅशनल नंबर. आणि आता आपल्याला सिद्ध करायचं की रूट 2 रॅशनल नंबर आहे, दॅट इज फॉल्स. हे चुकीचं आहे. आपणच चुकीचं ठरवायचं, आपणच विधान मांडायचं, आपणच गृहीतक मांडायचे, आपणच ते चुकीचं आहे हे ठरवायचं आहे. आणि एकदा का आपण हे प्रूव्ह केलं की रूट 2 रॅशनल नंबर आहे, दॅट इज फॉल्स, then what is correct? Root 2 is irrational. So how we can prove that the root 2 is rational number? So here we write assumption let root 2 is rational number, and all of you know that every rational number is written in the form a upon b, or into the form p upon q, or into the form x upon y. As you know that the definition of the rational number, if p is any integer and q is any non-zero integer, then p upon q is called as rational number. If x is any integer and y is any non-zero integer, then x upon y is called as rational number. If a is any integer and b is any non-zero integer, then a upon b is called as rational number. And always, see, rational number is nothing but that is a ratio, and ratio is always written in the simplest form. So here we can easily write root 2 is equal to a upon b. Since root 2 is rational number, we consider that root 2 is rational number, and every rational number is written in the form of a upon b, or p upon q, or x upon y, where a is any integer and b is any non-zero integer, and this is the simplest form of the ratio. This is the simplest form of the ratio. We cannot divide more to a upon b, means there is one and only one common factor of a and b, and that is 1. Here we can write here a and b. Here a and b have one and only one common factor. Here a and b have one and only one common factor. One and only one common factor, that is 1. That is 1. Here a and b have one and only one common factor, that is 1. If we write p upon q, then you can write here p and q have one and only one common factor, that is 1. Suppose you write x upon y here, then we can write here x and y have one and only one common factor, that is 1. Since both are not divisible by any other number, since this ratio is the shortest form or simplest form, it means that we cannot divide numerator and denominator by any other number except 1. So a and b have only one common factor, that is 1. Now just we have to prove that a and b have other than one other common factor it has. What we have to do? We have to know that this is false. Root 2 is rational number. This statement is false. That we have to do. So how you can prove that root 2 is rational number is false? Here we get that a and b have only one common factor, and that is 1. And now we have to prove that other than 1 there is one more common factor a and b have. That we have to do. Other than 1, a and b have one more common factor, that we have to prove. How we can prove this? It is very easy. See, we have root 2 is equal to a upon b. We will squaring both sides. Squaring both sides. Here we have, we will write here squaring both sides of this equation. Or simply we can write here squaring. Squaring, here we can write squaring both sides. Square of root 2 is 2. Is equal to square of a is a square upon square of b is b square. Now here we can write that a square is equal to 2b square. A square is equal to 2b square. Cross multiplication. Nothing is there in the denominator, means we have 1. Is a square into 1 is a square. That is equal to 2b square. If we transfer this 2 to the left side, which is a square upon 2 is equal to b square. This is a square upon 2 is equal to b square. It means that if we divide a square by 2, the division is b square. आपण जर a स्क्वेअरला 2 ने डिवाइड केलं तर डिव्हिजन किती येतो b स्क्वेअर इतका येतो. म्हणजे हा जो a स्क्वेअर आहे हा डिव्हिजिबल आहे कशाने 2 ने आणि त्यावेळेस डिव्हिजन किती येतो b स्क्वेअर इतका येतो. याचा अर्थ असा होतो की 2 इज अ फॅक्टर ऑफ a स्क्वेअर. 2 is a factor of a square means 2 is factor of a. Here a square is divisible by 2. A square division is b square. A square upon 2 is equal to b square. या दोघांचा भागाकार केला की तो b square इतका येतो आणि या दोघांचा भागाकार b square इतका येतो. याचाच अर्थ असा होतो की रिमाइंडर 0 आहे means it is completely divisible. A square is divisible by 2. Here a square is divisible by 2. A square is divisible by 2. A square ला 2 ने भाग जातो. याचा अर्थ आपण असंही म्हणू शकतो की a is also divisible by 2. If a square is even, याचा अर्थ काय होतो a square is divisible by 2 means a square is even. Here you can write a square is even. How it is even since it is divisible by 2. A square is even since it is divisible by 2. A square is even, therefore a is even means a is divisible by 2. Here you can represent it as equation 1, or you can simply write a is divisible by 2. You can simply write a is divisible by 2. You can write a is even, or you can write a is divisible by 2. You will write one more statement is a is divisible by 2. A is divisible by 2 and we will represent it as equation 1. We will represent it as equation 1. We prove that A is divisible by 2. Now we have to prove that B is also divisible by 2. Now we have to prove that B is also divisible by 2. And once we prove that B is divisible by 2, this is wrong. Here we prove that A is divisible by 2. Now we are going to prove that B is also divisible by 2. It means that A and B have one more common factor, that is 2, which contradicts our assumption. Which contradicts म्हणजे खोटे ठरवतो. Contradicts means proving false. It is false. It contradicts that root 2 is rational number. Since rational number have one and only one common factor. A and B have one and only one common factor. But B proves that A is divisible by 2. And now we have to prove that B is also divisible by 2. Now this is very important. How to prove that B is divisible by 2? This is very easy. Just we make the square of both the sides. We get A square is equal to 2B square. We transfer this 2 to the left side and we get that A square is divisible by 2 and their division is B square. And then A square is divisible by 2, it means that A square is even, and if A square is even, then A is also even. Now here we will take an example. 4 square is 16. 4 square, or you can take as 16, square root of 16. Square root of, here A square is even. If the square of any number is even, then the square it is also even. If the square of any number is even, then the square root is also even. You can take an example. 16 is the square of 4. 4 is also even and its square is also even. Perfect square number. If a perfect square number is even, then definitely the square root of that number is also even. You can take some examples. Square root of 100. 100 is even. Square root of 110. That is also even. Square root of 64. 64 is even. Its square root is also even. That is it. So we write if A square is even, then definitely A is even. It means that A is divisible by 2. And now it is very important how to prove that B is divisible by 2. Here we easily prove that A is divisible by 2. Now since A is divisible by 2 means A is the multiple of 2. So here you can write let A is equal to 2k. Since A is even, it means that A is the multiple of 2. So we write here A is equal to 2k. You can take any number in place of k. If you take 5, 5 to the 10, a is even. If you take 9, 9 to the 18, a is even. If we take in place of k 4, 4 to the 8, a is even. If you take 11 in place of k, 11 to the 22, a is even. Since a is multiple of 2, a is divisible by 2, it means that a is multiple of 2. So here we write a is equal to 2k, and now we will put this value in this equation. We will put this value in this equation. A is equal to 2k we have to put here. In place of a we have to put 2k. Let a is equal to 2k and we have to put this value here in the last step. That is a square upon 2 is equal to b square. So we will write here a square upon 2 is equal to b square. That is equation we write as it is. You can represent it as equation 1, but if you represent it as 1, then we have to represent it as 2. We have to represent this equation as 2. We will represent it as 1. We will represent it as equation 2. Now here we can write putting a is equal to 2k in equation 1. Putting a is equal to 2k. Why we take a is equal to 2k? You can use any variable in place of k. You can use m, n, o, p, q, r. Just do not use a and b because we already use that. So here we take a is equal to 2k. Why we use 2 here? Since a is even. If a is odd, then you can take odd number. That is very important. We are putting a is equal to 2k in equation 1. This is very important. How to know that b is divisible by 2? This is very easy. Just we make this square and we prove that a is even and a is divisible by 2. But it is very important. Since a is divisible by 2, we take a is equal to 2k. Now here we have to put this value in equation 1. A square upon 2 is equal to b square. In place of a we have to put 2k square divided by 2. It is equal to b square. 2k square is 4k square divided by 2. 2 1 2 2 to the 4 is equal to b square. We have 2 square is equal to b square. Now transfer this 2 to the right side, we will get k square is equal to b square upon 2. If we divide b square by 2, the division is k square. It means that b square is even. It means that b square is even. B square is divisible by 2 and their division is k square. It means that b is divisible by 2. So here you can write b is even. Therefore b is even. And b square is even. Here b square is even. Since it is divisible by 2, b square is even. And if b square is even, then b is also even. Here you can write therefore b is even. And once we prove that b is even, it means that b is divisible by 2. Therefore b is divisible by 2. B is divisible by 2. This is equation 3rd. Now from equation 2 and 3. From equation 2 and 3. Or equation 2 and 3 proves that this assumption is false. Equation 2 and 3 contradicts our assumption. Equation 2 and equation 3 contradicts our assumption. How they contradicts our assumption? We assume that root 2 is rational number. It means that here we write rational numbers form, that is a upon b, root 2 in the form a upon b, and a upon b is the simplest form. Since a and b both are divisible by 1 only, that a and b have only one common factor, that is 1. And here we have a and b one more common factor, that is 2. From equation 2 and 3 we prove that a and b both have one more common factor, and that is 2. It means that our assumption is wrong. It means that our assumption is false. It means that our assumption is incorrect. And if it is incorrect that root 2 is rational number, then what is correct? Then root 2 is irrational number, that is correct. So here you can write equation 2 and 3 contradicts our assumption. Equation 2 and 3 contradicts our assumption. Contradicts means determining that it is false. contradicts equation 2 and 3 contradicts our assumption. What is our assumption? Our assumption is root 2 is a rational number, and that is false. That is false. Equation 2 and 3 contradicts. Contradict means कोटीकरण. Equation 2 and 3 contradicts our assumption. False. Already we use the word contradicts here. Contradict means to determining that it is false. Equation 2 and 3 contradicts our assumption. Therefore, square root of 2 is irrational number. Square root of 2 is irrational number. So here we prove that root 2 is irrational number. By using the same method, you can prove that root 2 is irrational, root 5 is irrational, root 7 is irrational. At that time here we have to use, in place of even we have to use this or, and you will easily prove the number root 3 is irrational number, or root 7 is irrational number, or root 11 is irrational number. So this is all about the irrational numbers and real numbers. Now we have to study the next concept. Properties of irrational numbers. The concept which we have to study, that is properties of irrational numbers. The first property of the irrational numbers is addition or subtraction of a rational number with irrational number. If we take a rational number and another number irrational, then their addition or subtraction is always irrational number. If we take a rational number and an irrational number, and if we take their addition or subtraction, then the addition or subtraction is always irrational number. For example, here we can write 2 plus root 3. 2 plus root 3, 2 is rational number, root 3 is irrational number. If we take their addition is 2 plus root 3 only. We cannot add these two numbers, and this total addition 2 plus root 3 is irrational number. So their addition, that is 2 plus root 3, same number we get, that is always irrational. Or the subtraction of a rational number and an irrational number is always irrational number. For example, we will take one more example here. 5 minus root 2. The subtraction is 5 minus root 2 only. Since we are unable to take subtraction, one number is rational, another is irrational number. Their subtraction is always, see, this subtraction is irrational, this addition is irrational. That is what the first property of the irrational number. We have second property, multiplication or division of non-zero rational number with irrational number is also irrational. If we take non-zero rational number, do not take 0. Other than 0, any rational number you can take. If we take the multiplication or division of a non-zero rational number with irrational number, then that multiplication or division is also irrational. We will take one non-zero rational number, that is 5. For example, 5 multiplied by, this is non-zero rational number, do not take 0 there. Other than 0, any rational number you can take. And now we have to take irrational number, 5 multiplied by root 3. The product is 5 root 3. 5 multiplied by root 3, this is rational number, non-zero rational number, this is irrational number, and their product is always irrational. Now we will take one more example of division. Here you can write root 7 divided by 2, and here we will get root 7 upon 2 in the numerator denominator form, or simply you can write as it is, and this division is also irrational. This division is also irrational. So this is the second property of the irrational number. Now we have third and last property, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of two irrational numbers can be either a rational or irrational. You can get any number as addition, subtraction, multiplication or division of the two rational numbers. This is very important. both the numbers are rational. Here one rational, another irrational. Here one rational, another irrational. Here both the numbers are irrational. Sometimes you will get rational number or sometimes you will get irrational number. That is depend upon the numbers which we have given. So here we will take some examples. For example, square root of 8, it is irrational number, multiplied by square root of 2, it is also irrational number. Both the numbers are irrational numbers and their product is square root of 8 to the 16 and it is equal to 4. Square root of 16 is 4. So product of the two irrational number is rational. Sometimes it will be a rational number or it will be irrational number. Here we get rational number. Now we will take one more example. Square root of 5 multiplied by square root of 3, it is equal to square root of 15. And since it is impossible to find the square root of 15, it is irrational number. Here the product of two irrational number is rational and here the product of two irrational number is irrational. Sometimes we will get rational number, sometimes we will get irrational number. It is totally depend upon which number we take here. The answer is depend upon those two numbers. It may be rational or it may be irrational. So this is all about. Here we can take some more examples. We get only the example of multiplication here. You can get the two numbers in division. You can take two numbers in addition. You can take two numbers in subtraction, and you can check either we will get rational or we will get irrational number. There addition, subtraction, multiplication and division of two rational numbers. If both the numbers are irrational, then their addition or subtraction or multiplication or division, it is either a rational number or a irrational number. So this is all about the properties of the rational numbers. Now we will take the next concept, properties of order relation on real numbers. Here we have some properties related with the order relation between the real numbers. The first property is if a and b are two real numbers. If a and b are two real numbers, then only one of the relation holds good. If a and b are the two real numbers, then we have only three possibilities. The first possibility is either a and b are equal. The first possibility is either a and b are equal, or the second possibility is either a is greater than b, or the third and last property is a is less than b. It holds one of the three relations. If a and b are any real numbers, then three of these, only one relation between three of these holds good. That is correct. We can say holds correct. If a and b are equal, then these two are incorrect. If a is greater than b, then those two are incorrect. And if a is less than b, then these two are incorrect. Only one relation holds good or holds correct. Now, you can take two numbers, any two real numbers. We will take 5 and 7. Now here 5 is less than 7. This relation holds good. Now other two relations are incorrect or holds bad or holds not good. So it is not possible that 5 is equal to 7. It is not possible that 5 is greater than 7. It is only possible that 5 is less than 7. You can take any two real numbers and you can get that one of the three relations you will get there. One of the three relations you will get there. Suppose you take 9 and 5. Here 9 is greater than 5. This relation holds good. 9 is greater than 5. 9 is greater than 5. Other two relations are not good or they are incorrect. This is the first property of the real numbers. Now we have second property. If a is less than b, If A is less than B and B is less than C, then A is also less than C. If A is less than B and B is less than C, then definitely A is less than C. Now some students get fumbled. Actually it is too easy. It is very easy. All these properties are too easy. Actually that is not necessary to discuss here also. It is too easy, but here we have variable, so some students get fumbled and they are not getting single property, but the properties are too easy. Here we take two numbers and we find that they holds only one relation. If A and B are any two real numbers, then either they are equal to each other, or A is greater than B, or B is greater than A, or simply you can read it as A is less than B. And we take example also numbers. Two numbers we take and we compare them. Now here we have, if A is less than B and B is less than C, then A is less than C. If A is less than B and B is less than C, this is the given information, then definitely A is less than C. So here we will take an example. 11 is less than 13. 11 is less than 13, that is A is less than B, and B is less than C, that is 13 is less than 17. Here the comparison of the first is taken with second, the comparison of second is taken with third, but the comparison of the first and third is remaining. First is compared with second, second is compared with third. Now the first and third is remaining to compare. Here 11 is less than 17. 11 is less than 17. A is less than B and B is less than C. Then definitely A is less than C. So here you can easily understand if we take the numbers there. 11 is less than 13. 13 is less than 17. So 11 is definitely less than 17, that is first and second, second and third, and here remaining is first and third, and here first number is less than the third number. Since first is less than second, second is less than third, then first is less than third. So this is the second property. Now we have third property. In the third property it is given that if A is less than B, then A plus C is less than B plus C. If A is less than B, then A plus C is less than B plus C. Suppose here we will take A is less than B, so you have to take first number smaller and second number bigger. So we will write here 2 is less than 5. 2 is less than 5. Now here C is added to A and same number is added to B. So here we will write 2 plus 7. And here we will write 5 plus 7. Same number is added to LHS and RHS. In both the sides we have to add the same number, that is C. You can add any real number there. We take 7 here. You can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 0. Any number you can add there. But same number should be added in both the LHS and RHS. Now 2 plus 7 is 9 and here 5 plus 7 is 12. Now which one is greater and which one is smaller? Here 9 is less than 12. Since we have to put the mouth of this sign towards bigger number, you can read it as 9 is less than 12. 9 is less than 12. So you can easily get the properties. If A is less than B, so you can take any two numbers in place of A and B. They should be real numbers. A should be smaller and B should be greater. Here A is smaller, B is greater. And if we add the same number to LHS and RHS, same relation holds there. Here A is less than B and the same relation is there. Since the same number is added, the relation is not interchanged, relation becomes same. So this is all about the third property, and now we have fourth property. That is, if A is less than B and C is greater than 0. If A is less than B and C is greater than 0, then AC is less than BC. Now here A is less than B. A is less than B. So we will take two numbers. First one is smaller and second one is greater. We will take 13 is less than 21. Now c is greater than 0. C should be greater than 0. It should not be 0 or less than 0. It should be greater than 0. Now here it is multiplied by c and it is also multiplied by c, means we have to multiply LHS and RHS both by the same number which is greater than 0. We have to multiply LHS and RHS both by the same number which is greater than 0. So we will multiply LHS by 2 and we will multiply RHS by 2. Now 13 2s are 26, 21 2s are 42, and the same relation is there. Whatever the relation is here between these two numbers, same relation is there because both are multiplied by the same number. Since the relation is not going to change, 26 is less than 42. 26 is less than 42. Then we have second type in this. Now c is less than 0. Now here the relation is interchanged. A is less than b. We can write this part also here. If a is less than b and if c is less than 0 means c is negative. C is less than 0 means c is negative number. Then is c greater than bc? We will check. We will take two numbers, same numbers is 13 and 21. Now we will multiply 13 by minus 1 and we will multiply 21 by minus 1. No need to write sign here. We will put it as it is. We will give comma here. Now 13 into minus 1 is minus 13, 21 into minus 1 is minus 21. Now which one is greater? Minus 13 is greater and minus 21 is smaller. Minus 13 is greater and minus 21 is smaller. If c is less than 0 means c is any negative number, then this relation is gets changed. Left side's number is greater and right side's number becomes smaller. In the previous condition, left side's relation holds same, less than, but here less than and here greater than. Why? Because c is less than 0. Since c is negative number, the relation is gets interchanged. That is, AC is greater than BC, that is minus 13 greater than minus 21. So this is all about the properties of order relation on the real numbers. And now you have last concept before practice set 2.2, root of negative number, square root of negative number. Now we all of you know that if square root of x is equal to y, we all of you know that if square root of x is equal to y, then x is equal to y square. X is equal to y square. We take the square of both the sides. Square root of x, square of the root x is square of the root x is x, and square of y is y square. Since we have x is equal to y square, and all of you know that square of any negative number is always positive. Sorry, square of any negative number, not square root. Square of any negative number is always positive. Square is never negative. Square of any number is never negative. But suppose we make the square of negative root 3. If we make the square of negative root 3, it is negative 3. Since we make the square, this sign gets eliminated and we have minus 3 only. Square root of negative 3, if we make the square of this number, we get minus 3. And as all of you know that square of any real number is never negative. It means that this is not real number. This is not the real number. If the square of any number is negative, then definitely that number is not a real number. Square root of minus 3 is not the real number, since its square is not real, because square of any number is never negative. If we make the square of any number, that is always positive, that is never negative. Square of any number is never negative, and here we get the square of negative root 3 negative. It means that this number is not a real number. So here we can write therefore square root of negative number is not a real number. Is not a real number. Why it is not a real number? We have an example here. We take the square root of negative number here and we squaring both sides using this rule. If root x is equal to y, then x is equal to y square. Squaring both sides. Here also we make the square of this side and we get minus 3 there. Here we have square root of negative 3, and if we make the square of this number, this sign of square root is gets eliminated and we have root 3 minus 3 only. So here we write square root of negative number is not a real number. So this is all about all the concepts before practice set 2.2. Now we will study the practice set 2.2 into the next video lecture. Thank you.